Well, that was a nice palate cleanser, or I should say that was something pretty good to wash out the bad taste of Mandalorian and Grogu out of my mouth. Because I just left the theater, kind of a late showing for Sheep Detectives, the new Hugh Jackman movie, and it was way better than I was expecting, and honestly, way better than the trailers made it out to seem. And I thought about this partway through the movie during an intense emotional moment, that this movie was every bit the type of family movie that should be the average. This is a rated PG movie, and the basic premise is basically it's a murder mystery of a shepherd's flock of sheep trying to solve the murder of their shepherd, played by Hugh Jackman. The setup, as you can see from the trailers, that he's used to reading them murder mysteries, in the pastime. Then eventually one night he gets killed, and then they have to go through all the, suspects and stuff in the town, and there was all sorts of your usual twists and turns. And this movie felt to me, I mentioned to my girlfriend here that it felt hints of like a spiritual successor to Babe, like the Babe movies from the 90s, but also with the hint of like Hot Fuzz, with sort of not necessarily like spoofing but just the mystery aspects of it, and a small town in the countryside. It kind of gave me Hot Fuzz vibes. But it was a very nice, straightforward, lighthearted movie with, a lot of charm, a lot of heart, and some sad parts, some pretty emotional parts that really stuck the landing to me, tugging at the heartstrings, and really reached to certain depths and intensity and stuff like that, that it was like, it had an actual plot, setup, payoff, character arcs, everything that's pretty much should be standard in most family movies that just simply aren't these days. This movie hits. And I was thinking to myself that this is everything that, again, most movies, the family movies used to be able to achieve, and the norm, decades ago. I mean, you see this kind of stuff pretty regularly from Pixar movies, wouldn't you say? Because like Pixar movie, like basically if you're a fan of like older school Pixar movies that weren't afraid to go a little bit not intense, but sort of just for like heavier emotional moments and stuff, then you would enjoy the Sheep Detectives. And typically I'm not huge into family movies and stuff like this, but the cutesy stuff wasn't overbearing to me. I was able to really just basically it wasn't quite forced. I guess the most recent comparison I would make would be the moments that they would try to do with Grogu on the Mandalorian and Grogu. It didn't miss the mark like that. It actually hits it hits those points. This movie does a pretty good job of it. So this is kind of a hidden gem, and I was actually surprised when I saw the credits roll that the executive producers were Lord and Miller. So if you like what you saw in Project Hail Mary, then you would definitely like this. This was a surprise hit for me. Honestly, I was really not expecting it to be this good. And shockingly enough, this was actually also written by Craig Mazin, who wrote who's one of the main show. I think he was the showrunner for The Last of Us, but also he wrote like Chernobyl and some of the Hangover movies. So this is kind of much in the same vein with Babe, it being done by George Miller, and then also doing Mad Max. You get Craig Mazin being part of this movie. I wasn't familiar with the name of the director, but it was a pretty good, well-directed movie, and it was just nice, simple, lighthearted, clean, fun. I think this is this review is coming a little late, but honestly, had I been able to watch this movie as soon as it came out, had I not been too busy and just gotten around to doing this, I would have recommended this movie to go see with their family in the theater if you want a nice, clean, fun that wasn't infantilized. It doesn't insult your intelligence. It's not too lowbrow. It's not too hyperactive and frenetic and stuff. It actually tells conventional storytelling in a good way for adults and children, this is it. You know, if you want a good family movie like that and not slop, watch this instead of the other big one that had come out over the weekend. So yes, hopefully this review doesn't come out a little too late for some other viewers, but this is the definitely recommend. Good date movie, I would say, but also a great family movie. If we had some kids, we'd probably take them to go see this movie, because again, this is like I said, it's probably the spiritual successor in the same vein as Babe. You know, like I said before, you know, a lot of good setups, payoffs, you know, a lot of Chekhov's guns and stuff like that with any good murder mystery, but also just character arcs, good humor, nice jokes. It's just classic old school filmmaking, storytelling that the industry for the most part had lost its way, but I think this one is hits that mark, and we can only hope that more movies come out like this. And I would only hope that this movie is as successful as I would hope it would be, because it would pretty much, not that Hollywood learned the right lessons anyway, but you know, the hope would be that Hollywood will learn that this is the kind of movies that people would actually want, and not give out some nihilistic, grim, depressing stuff. You know, true escapism is what this is. And yeah, not much more that I can say about it, and hopefully I didn't really spoil too much of it, but yeah, that's my review for The Sheep Detectives. And yeah, give it a shot. It's worth it. Don't be fooled by the trailers. Trailers were all right, but the movie is way better than even those led on. So yeah, take it easy. I'll see you guys on the next one.